Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. This is Jim. I'm working on the second wing tip for the, I guess this is the left wing. And I thought I'd show you, I'm putting in the nut plates along here that attaches it to the wing skin. I thought I'd show you there's a kind of an order to do these that makes it easier once you kind of get it worked out. And I thought I'd show how I do it. And offer a couple of the tips and observations that I have. Number one, I'm not sure why, but I ended up getting a little bit close. You have to trim this edge back, and you want it to be about 1/2 inch or slightly more. But what's going on here is that you're trimming this back on the top and the bottom side so that you get the angle of the trailing edges to be in line with the aileron and the flap. So watch that. I've got it a few spots where it's a little bit narrow. It won't be a big deal, but that's something to keep an eye out for. Second thing, I guess, kind of going through the order is once you got it in place, and of course you've match drill through the skins, through the pre-punch skins, and you're drilling these holes initially, they're undrilled. Then take it all apart, and then what I did, I'm using number 440 screws instead of the number 6. So if you were doing 6, you just up the drill size, but use whatever drill size you need to just barely clear the screw. So I'm going to upsize the holes after I pull it off so that this 440 screw just barely fits. Then I go through, before I put the screw in there, then I go through with a piloted countersink. This is for a 440 or for a 3/32 rivet, as it'll fit, and actually you'll probably want to do this before you upsize the hole. So you drill at 3/32, that's the 3/32 pilot. Go through, and you want to try to put a countersink on there, but you want it to be a little bit less than, you don't want the screw head to be flush yet. We're going to make it bigger later on, but that's kind of like the last step. So there you can kind of see that screw sticks up a little bit. That's kind of what you want. The idea here is to try to keep the nut plate in the correct position as far as being centered on the hole that you're drilling, because you want it to center up with the wing skin holes. So put a little countersink on there, and you'll have to freehand these. You can't really use the cage unless you shim up, which would be a big giant pain, and freehand is good enough in this application. So freehand, I mean you're using this cutter without the countersink, the microstop cage, because the cage won't lay flat because of this ledge. So you're going to freehand it. When you freehand a hole like this, you're doing a countersink, you want to watch the result, and you want that to be an even countersink all the way around. You just need to hold that drill nice and perpendicular to the surface when you're doing it. Light pressure here. I like using the 3 fluted cutter on fiberglass. The single hole cutters seem to grab and dig in a little bit too much, and then you can get an uneven countersink that way. So once I got it just barely countersunk, I guess tip number 2 here, or whatever we're up to here, is take one of your screws that you're working with and cut it down so that it's just long enough to go through and catch the nut plate. So then I put the screw through there, put the nut plate underneath of it, and just snug it up. I need to be able to check it to make sure that it's lined up, and you're probably not going to be able to see this, but I'm just lining up getting the nut plate so that it's running true this way, so that the rivets will be in line like the ones up here. You probably can't see those either, but so I got it lined up that way. Then next tip is a long drill bit. This is 3/32. This is 12-inch long drill bit. I hope you're seeing some of this. That way, when I stand this thing up, then I can reach across and drill it. So I'm back drilling through the nut plate that's underneath. And I don't clamp it down or worry about the thing rotating. It seems like with fiberglass, the nut plates don't want to rotate when you drill. When you're putting a nut plate on aluminum, I always put a rivet through the first hole to keep it from the nut plate from spinning around when you drill the second hole, because the drill will have enough pressure to cause that to walk, and then you don't, then it's not lined up. So next step, check the camera here, see if you're still in the shot. So the next step then, now I've got the holes back drilled, the plate nuts still on there, screws holding it all together. Then I'm going to take the same piloted cutter and countersink the holes for the rivets. And again, I'm watching to make sure that it's fairly even, trying to hold the drill up nice and straight. Next tip is a soft rivet, and I don't have that one. That's pretty close. Move this rivet, check this one. I'm just checking to make sure that it's flush. I don't want to go much past flush. I want it just flush if I can get that. But you don't want it standing proud, because then it's going to hold this away from the underneath of the wing skin. And then I'm putting 2 rivets in there. Feels pretty good. And then I'm using the pneumatic squeezer for these. And on the wingtips, this thing will flex apart pretty good. And then I can flex it this way, because I'm going to try to get it square. Otherwise, I'd have to set this from the other side. I'd have to turn the gun around, or the squeezer around to set it. And there you go. Take that screw out of there and move on to the next one. Kind of the last step, then I've got another drill. This does not have a pilot on it, which the pilot, you guys probably know this, is the little round point that sticks out that keeps this centered in, keeps it centered in the hole. So when I take that screw out, I'll go back through and make this hole bigger so that it will fit the skin. And so I make a little test on a deal like this. This is the same thickness of skin as the wing skin with a dimple for that rivet, or for that screw head. And then you want to try it in here and see. So you can see here that this is way too big to fit the countersink, because I haven't done them yet. This is still small enough. Initially I want the screw to fit that, not the dimple, because I want the screw to center up so it holds the nut plate in the center. So that's about it. Thought I'd record the video, just it'll probably help me down the road if I have to do something similar. And the sequence of steps, once you get it worked out, it seems okay, like no big deal. But initially it was like, okay, what do I do first? And the order can make a difference. So that's it. See you next time.